Is WWE set to go all the way with Jey Uso when he challenges Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship on Saturday at Saturday night's main event? That's what everyone's asking, and I've seen some people arguing that maybe now is the time to make Jey the world champion. Will it happen? Well, let's discuss the reasons why maybe it could and why maybe it won't, because they did have their exchange on this week's Raw on Netflix, as it was Gunther pointing out all the reasons why he thinks Jey Uso is still not world championship material. Jay's heard that before. Gunther's used that same sort of verbiage before in talking about other competitors, right? Whether it's Sami Zayn, Jay's close friend, whether it's others who have tried to step up to Gunther and take the World Heavyweight Championship, or in a previous iteration, take the Intercontinental Championship from Gunther, right? He's used that same kind of, he is the world-class elite wrestler, while Jey is what Gunther called the complete dork and a company mascot. He also called him a useful idiot, someone who just goes around helping out, Roman Reigns when he needs help, Sami Zayn when he needs help, Jey Uso when he needs help, Cody Rhodes, the same scenario. So Gunther used all that at Jey here to really kind of downplay the idea that he could ever be a world champion. I think it makes for a fascinating discussion. Not just whether Jey is going to win the world title right now, but is Jey going to be that world champion? Let's say in 2025 at some point. Is that more realistic than Jey winning the title on Saturday at Saturday night's main event? Maybe, but I've seen some people argue that maybe now is the time to take that chance on Jey Uso. And why? Well, if you go back and we kind of talk about, all the things with Jey, right? It's getting out of that tag team wrestler type of light. He's done that over the past year or so. There's no question about it. You see the way the crowd reacts to Jey. The entrances are always a spectacle. I mean, he looks like one of the top stars in the company. Just if you turned on the television, the streaming service of your choice, and you had the sound off, and you just looked at all the different entrances and everything and the way the crowd reacts, you would immediately think Jey is one of the top superstars in the company. You turn the sound on, he's still one of the top superstars in the company because the crowd is eating it up. Anywhere he goes, the way they presented him has been about as well as you can present anybody because the fans are into it, the Yeet stuff, everything is working with Jey. And I know the one thing for some people that may not be working with Jey is that he's not having 5-star classics and all this other stuff. Well, I always go back to the same thing. You don't have to have 5-star classics if you can get the crowd to engage with you and you can invoke some sort of emotion from the crowd. Jey is doing that maybe as well as anybody right now because you do look at the reaction that he's getting. Even go back to this particular Raw, right, where you have the exchange between he and Gunther, and you think about what happens in this. You have Gunther running down Jey and the possibility that he could be a world champion. He's just running him down, as I said, using all the different name calling and everything to point out that Jey he's not there yet, right? But the crowd, each time, like they're behind Jey. Everything he says, he promises he's going to walk out as the world champion. He's pointing out all the reasons why he can. And then you kind of have that moment after they get physical with each other. After Gunther is taken out, Jey gets the upper hand. He stands tall. Jey grabs that World Heavyweight Championship. And if you go back, again, just listen to the reaction from the crowd. There are a lot of people who want this. They want to see Jey get that big opportunity. Yes, he's already gotten that opportunity as the Intercontinental Champion. That may have surprised some people when he defeated Braun Breaker. But he proved that he could take that next step, right? He proved he could be the Intercontinental Champion. But the biggest prize of them all is still either the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Undisputed title. Jey getting an opportunity to win that title and add another thing on his resume, something that no one thought he could ever do. There's plenty of storyline material you can work with if they decide to go all the way with Jey Uso. Now, again, I think the problem is, are they going to do it now? Well, that may be the issue comes in because it is Royal Rumble, WrestleMania 41 season. And you could say, well, Gunther has probably plans already set in place for who he's going to defend that championship against at WrestleMania 41. We brought up the possibilities, right? Sure, they could do a Gunther versus John Cena. That was one of the initial thoughts. But now, without that, and maybe with the idea that they could be turning towards Cody Rhodes and John Cena, and maybe Roman Reigns versus CM Punk as your top two main events, well, maybe Gunther defending that championship against the likes of, again, Seth Rollins, people like that. Maybe that becomes more likely at this stage, right? So would Jey be thrust into that role to where he's defending the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 41? Probably not. Probably not right now. But I've seen some people say, hey, what if you have the idea that this is like your big signature moment for the return of Saturday night's main event, right? You had your big moment with Kevin Owens giving Cody Rhodes the pile driver the last time around. Maybe this one is where Jey Uso shocks the world and beats Gunther for the title, and then Gunther invokes the rematch clause at the Royal Rumble, beats Jey for the title, and all of a sudden, you're kind of back to where you started, yet Jey still got that big signature moment. Well, that could piss some people off just as much as anything, because if he loses it this close right after, well, I don't know that people are going to be too thrilled about that, right? So, for now, you're probably going to go into this match thinking Gunther is the big favorite, right? The big favorite to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. And it's understandable why that would be the case. But I do think we've kind of reached that point now where when you have the heel like Gunther, who's certainly playing that up more, remember, they kind of teased Gunther back and forth depending on the feud. Like, he's been okay playing a babyface at certain times over the past couple months, depending on, again, who he's interacting with. But, you know, and look, the Logan Paul thing I know is still out there. Gunther versus Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight Championship. That seems like another possibility that could happen. So you're not going to put Jey into that role right now if that's the case. But if you're looking at this and you're looking at Jey kind of at this sort of another seemingly kind of turning point for Jey Uso, right? Wins the Intercontinental Championship, as we brought up, got back into the Bloodline stuff, and now what's that next big thing he has to aim for? I mean, you know, he's already basically qualified for the Royal Rumble. We know he's going to be in the Rumble if he doesn't win this championship. And so it's getting to that World Heavyweight Championship level. And so even though I've seen some people make the argument that this could be kind of that shocking moment that nobody sees coming, Triple H decides to really shake things up here and have this unbelievable title switch where Jey just upsets Gunther to win the championship on NBC, prime time, huge stage, right? I could see it as an idea, but in theory, how they execute it, I think, is going to be more long-term in terms of getting Jey to that World Heavyweight Championship. And we knew, too, when they decided to bring back, you know, the two World Heavyweight titles, when it wasn't just one, when it wasn't just Roman Reigns having all the championships, right? We knew that was going to give people more opportunities. It was going to be, you know, more people were going to kind of get into that group of guys that who could win the World Championship. It didn't just have to be the WWE Undisputed title that Cody holds, right? You have more people who can get in on that. And I do think at some point this year, there is that idea that Jey Uso winning that title is something you can build towards. But I don't know that that time is right now. Just take a line from John Cena. But it is something where I think when you see this reaction, like I said, you only have to go back as far as, you know, this week's Raw to see how the crowd reacts when Jey picks up that world title. When it does happen, if it does happen, maybe you guys don't think it's going to happen, but if it is one of those scenarios where Jey eventually wins that championship, I don't think it's going to be on Saturday, but if it does happen down the road this year at some point, it is again going to add another one of those wrinkles into this incredible journey of Jey Uso. When you really think about it, right? One half of one of the most decorated tag teams in WWE history, and for him to kind of catapult himself into this stratosphere of being a World Heavyweight Champion after winning the Intercontinental title, all those things, to take that next step. Can he take that next step this year? Or will it be further down the line? Or will it ever happen? That's the question that I know we're all wondering. Some people think it may come as soon as Saturday. I don't know about that. But I at least think you have to remember, this is kind of what WWE has created with Jey. They have created such a popular figure. Maybe not with everybody. Maybe not with the online audience at times because of, again, the matches may leave a little bit to be desired. However, when it comes to reaction, when it comes to engagement, he is one of the top superstars in the biggest professional wrestling company in the world. And that's always going to give you an opportunity to be a world champion. And so, even though, as I said, it may not happen on Saturday night's main event, I think Jey Uso getting that World Heavyweight Championship reign, much more realistic than it was a year ago, 2 years ago, and so forth, because his stock continues to rise. I think when it comes to the fans, and all you needed to see was that reaction when he picked up that championship, you're going to get that same reaction in other buildings. If they do it down the road, if they do it now, if they do it later, doesn't matter. I just think that Jey has reached that level of popularity where anything is possible. It just may be hard to do against a champion like Gunther. We'll find out at Saturday night's main event. Could they do the old switcheroo where Jey wins the title, Gunther challenges him at the Royal Rumble? all chaos everywhere with this World Championship heading into WrestleMania 41. Seems unlikely, but I want to know what you guys think. Should WWE shock the world and have Jey Uso win the World Heavyweight Championship on Saturday? Anytime you're the person standing tall with the title before the match, you know that's not good because that's usually how it works. The momentum swings back in the other person's favor. Jey was the person standing tall on Netflix this week. Will he be the person standing tall in San Antonio on Saturday? We'll find out. But again, guys, always love your feedback. Let me know what you think about Jey Uso. Do you see him as a world champion? Do you see him as Gunther sees him, as the company mascot? What do you think about Jey Uso being a world champion? Maybe not now, but in 2025. Do you see it happening? Always enjoy your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this whole idea with Jey. As always, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, and let me know your thoughts on this match coming up on Saturday. It's Saturday night's main event. Jey Uso challenges Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship.